Offside, out of bounds. Welcome to Offside and Out of Bounds. This is episode 3, the outfield. One of the more important areas of your fantasy team, as this can make or break you. You need guys in the outfield that are speedy, that are going to get you those stolen base numbers, as well as your high RBI and your home run totals. Now, again, this is the area in the draft where you're going to have the most amount of players that you're going to be keeping your eye on. Now, the guys at the top, obviously, the higher ranked guys, they're going to go quick, and you might be on the outside looking in. So we're going to run through the top 5, and then we're going to give you 5 of our shots. Now, these are not high-end people, but these are people that are going to help with your RBI totals, your OPS, as well as hits. So not just home runs and RBIs. Those are power numbers. That's great. But if you can build a strong infield, you can focus on other issues in the outfield. Let's go. First up, the number 1 rated outfielder and number 1 overall player in this year's fantasy rankings, Ronald Acuna Jr. I'm going to scratch my head and say I don't understand why. I don't think he's the best player in the league, nor do I think he's the best outfielder in the league, fantasy or real world. But Acuna did finish off the season last year with 40 hits, 14 home runs, 46 runs, 29 RBIs, 8 stolen bases, and an OPS of 987. And Baseball Reference has him wrapping the year up at 130 hits, 31 home runs, 97 RBIs, 97 runs, 77 RBIs, 22 stolen bases, and an OPS of 903. Don't waste your pick. There's a lot better out there. We just think that, you're going to end up having to pick this guy first overall, and there's just no way that this guy is going to live up to the type of numbers that a first overall fantasy pick should. So, go for pitching first. Don't, get a high-end starter. Don't get a guy like this, because the league is littered with guys that are going to be putting up decent RBI numbers. Next in the can is Mookie Betts. Wrapped up last year with 64 hits, 16 home runs, 47 runs, 39 RBI, 10 stolen base, and an OPS of 927. And he is the 3rd overall ranked player in the draft and the 2nd overall ranked outfielder. Again, another head scratcher. Mookie is a nice young dynamic player and definitely puts up some pretty strong numbers and has great protection in Los Angeles that allows him to do so. We just don't see him as the 2nd rated outfielder. But nonetheless, he is going to have a productive year, as Baseball Reference has him wrapping up with 152 hits, 29 home runs, 112 runs scored, 77 RBI, 19 stolen bases, and an OPS of 923. He's definitely a nice piece to have in your outfield if there is a spot and you have a high pick to waste. Next up, in another spot that's not where he should be, is Juan Soto. Finished off the year at 54 hits, 13 home runs, 39 runs, 37 RBIs, 6 stolen bases, and an OPS of 1.185. Now, Juan Soto is a young, dynamic player, and he is definitely going to help you with those OPS numbers. He is going to be out the start of the year, as he did test positive for COVID, so he's not going to be in that opener. Don't know how long of a wait he's going to look at, but the overall ranked 4th player in the league should be back and should definitely be doing some damage. Baseball Reference has him wrapping up the year at 129 hits, 27 home runs, 89 runs scored, 86 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, and an OPS of 960, which is pretty decent for a corner outfield spot. Coming in our 4th spot, overall ranked number 5, which is absolutely criminal, is Mike Trout. Finished off last year, 56 hits, 17 home runs, 41 RBIs, 41 runs scored, 46 RBIs, 1 stolen base, and an OPS of 993. Now, let's get down to something real quick. There is only one consistent player over the last 10 years, and that has been Mike Trout. Having him ranked 5th or 4th is just criminal. If you can grab him at that spot, forget about your pitching, just grab this guy. His numbers are going to be up this year, as last year was a shortened season. Baseball Reference has him coming in at 132 hits, 38 home runs, 97 runs scored with 91 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, and an OPS of 1,000. I think the home run totals are close. I think the RBI numbers are a bit low, and I think he will score over 100 runs as well this year. So the offense is starting to pick up a bit out there in LA. If you can get him in your 5th or 6th in the draft, just grab him and don't even think twice about it. The guy's the most consistent player over the last 10 years, and it's going to continue. Potential MVP, so I'll take him. In another head scratcher, we have Christian Yelich, who is ranked 5th in the outfield and 9th overall. Don't know why. Came off last year, 41 hits, 12 home runs, 39 runs scored, 22 RBI, 4 stolen bases, and an OPS of 786. Baseball Reference has him set at 144 hits, 34 home runs, 97 runs scored, 86 RBIs, 20 stolen bases, and an OPS of 937. Now, Milwaukee's kind of in trouble. I don't know how competitive they're going to be this year. Christian Yelich has a lot of injury concerns. So, if I'm in the 9 spot in the draft and he's available, I just don't know about. You better have backups. If you're going to take him at the 9th pick, you better have some really strong backups out there, because if this guy goes down, that's a high pick that you could have maybe grabbed someone else that might be a little more, serving for your team. But either way, he's there at the 5th spot, and the injuries are a huge concern. Okay, we're on the clock. So let's start off with the first priority. If you have the ability to take Mike Trout and he's at your spot, grab him. Outside of that, the guys that we really like, number 1 is George Springer in Toronto. He has absolutely ridiculous splits at the Dome, and if he's going to have a good season, it's going to be a good season. He is going to have a good season. His numbers are great when playing the Jays, so being on the Jays, we're looking to replicate that as well. So definitely look at that. Now, if you're worried about OPS, maybe the guys you have aren't there as a sleeper pick, definitely look at Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Guy is a hit and walk machine, great for doubles as well. And the next guy that we really do like is I do like Acuna and Soto, but again, those high picks, it's going to be really tough to kind of get into that range. Some other sleepers you might want to look at is Luis Robert. As well as, who else would I grab there? Kyle Lewis. Kyle Lewis should have another good year as well. So 2 youngsters that you might be able to get, at the bottom of the draft. Thanks for listening to our inaugural episode of our fantasy draft. This is Offside and Out of Bounds. I am at Junior. Stay safe, support local, and see ya real soon.